You know, almost everything you own, your phone, the shirt on your back, probably even the coffee you're drinking, it all got to you through this massive, incredibly complex system called global shipping. Today, we're going to dive into how artificial intelligence is just completely tearing up the rule book for that entire system. And we're going to do it by looking at the story of one company, Flexport.
Look, in business, and especially in logistics, there's always been this one fundamental trade-off. It's a classic. You can get something from A to B really fast, or you can get it there cheap. You have to pick one, faster or cheaper. That's been the law of the land for decades.
But what if that law just doesn't apply anymore? What if some new technology comes along and just breaks that trade-off completely? What if you could have both, faster and cheaper? And this isn't some far-off hypothetical. It's exactly what AI is starting to do right now. Let's put some numbers on this, because this is where it gets really interesting. By using its AI models for logistics planning, Flexport managed to improve its transit times by a massive 20%. That means stuff is getting where it needs to go way faster, which is, that's a huge deal for their customers.
But here's the kicker. This huge speed boost didn't come with a higher price tag. Not at all. In fact, Flexport's founder, Ryan Peterson, says AI is the key to their whole plan to make ocean freight 8 to 10% cheaper for everyone. So yeah, faster and cheaper is no longer a paradox. It's the new reality.
So, how in the world is this actually happening, right? It's not magic. It's a very deliberate strategy. So let's pull back the curtain and take a look at Flexport's AI playbook.
Their AI toolkit is just incredibly diverse. It can read these insanely complex contracts. It can figure out the absolute best way to pack a shipping container. It can even chat with customers about their supply chain. It's automating all this internal work, and as we're about to see, it's even making phone calls.
Okay, to understand that last point, we need to quickly define what an AI agent is. Think of it less like a simple program and more like a robotic assistant. It doesn't just process data. It can actually act on it, all by itself. It can make decisions, it can send emails, and yes, it can literally pick up the phone and talk to a person.
So here's a real-world example of how it works. Let's say a truck is supposed to deliver to a brand new warehouse. The system flags that. The AI agent automatically shoots off an email to confirm all the details. If it doesn't get a reply, the agent just places a voice call to the warehouse to confirm the appointment. And boom, just like that, the appointment is confirmed. You've just prevented a truck driver from getting lost, which saves a ton of time and money. Now, the really crucial point here isn't just about replacing a human job. As Ryan Peterson explains, AI makes entirely new kinds of work possible. Before, manually calling every single warehouse would have been way too expensive, so companies just sort of accepted that sometimes things would go wrong. But with an AI agent, that cost basically goes to zero, creating this whole new layer of reliability that just didn't exist before.
But look, deploying technology like this, it isn't just a technical problem. You can't just buy some software. It requires a fundamental shift in the company culture. You have to build a totally different kind of organization from the ground up.
And you can literally see this cultural shift in their company hackathons. Before ChatGPT blew up, maybe 5% of their projects were about AI. Today, it's 90%. 90% of the projects are based on large language models, or LLMs. That's the same tech that powers ChatGPT. AI has totally captured the imagination of the entire company.
These creates a really fascinating tension for leadership. On one hand, you absolutely need a strong top-down vision, what Peterson calls founder mode, to steer the whole ship. But on the other hand, you have to create space for all these amazing bottom-up ideas from the hackathons, because so often the person who's closest to the problem has the most brilliant solution.
And to fuel all this bottom-up innovation, Flexport did something pretty radical. They started this brand new training program. They take people who are not engineers, people from the operations side who are the real experts in logistics, and they give them the tools and training to automate parts of their own jobs. They're literally turning freight forwarders into AI builders.
And the goal for this program is, it's incredibly ambitious. The promise they make to managers is that if you let your employee join this program, they will come back to the team 10 times more productive than their peers. A 10x employee, all powered by low-code AI tools. Just wild.
So what happens when you apply this wild combination of tech and culture across an entire industry? Well, the effects start to ripple outwards, and they have the potential to make the entire world a fundamentally cheaper place to live.
Okay, so if you break down the total cost of moving a big container across the ocean, it turns out that about 10% of that cost is just people. Human labor doing the freight forwarding, all the coordination, the paperwork, the back and forth communication. And that 10% slice, that is the direct target for AI automation.
So Flexport's new internal goal is to automate 90 to 95% of that human work. And if they pull that off, the math is actually pretty simple. If you wipe out most of that 10% labor cost, that means the total cost of global shipping could drop by almost 10% for everybody. That means more trade, lower prices for you and me, and just a much more efficient global economy.
To really get your head around the scale of this change, it helps to look at history. Think about the printing press. It automated the work of scribes, and that sparked an information revolution that changed the world. Well, AI is now doing the same thing for knowledge work, and it's on track to reshape society in a very similar way. This isn't just about shipping containers, it's about a fundamental shift in how our world works.
So for Flexport, what does that future look like? What's the end game? Well, it's a future where this whole messy industry basically becomes a utility, something so reliable you don't even have to think about it anymore.
And this quote from Ryan Peterson just captures that vision perfectly, right? You don't worry about the electrical grid when you flip a light switch. You just expect the lights to turn on. The goal is for logistics to work exactly the same way. It should just be this invisible, totally reliable utility that powers global commerce.
And the ultimate benefit of all of this is pretty clear. It frees up every other company in the world to just focus on what they do best, making amazing products, connecting with their customers, while the messy, complicated business of logistics just happens seamlessly in the background.
And that right there is the true power of AI when it's applied at a massive scale, making an entire complex industry totally invisible, which really leaves us with a huge question. What complex, frustrating industry will AI make invisible next?